Hi, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central, and I haven't hit the live button yet. I'm doing that now, but I'm with my Gal Pal Posse, Nissa Flamino Rush, and BZ Rieger.
Whee!
I'm so excited
Me
to be
too.
here with you guys. And at the moment, I'm calling it Gal Pal Posse Live. So, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I better not. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I'll just put CCCC Gal Pals Live. Yeah, there we go. So, thank you. I'm so glad you got to play BZ today because, usually you're hard at work and it's daytime for us.
I am. I'm just taking an hour. Stepping away.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Just because I'm a little, confused. I've been up most of the night. Weren't we doing a quantum tool alert thing?
Yes, actually, that's what this is. Dadgummit. See, I was trying to name it. And
Just checking. I thought I checked.
Well, you know what happens? It's very difficult to do two things at once. Yes.
We're live.
Come to my world and
We're
try
living.
doing 50 or 60 things at once and then tell me that.
Okay. No. It totally went out of my head. Yes, it is a quantum tool alert. And actually, we actually even had a specific name for it. We had this really cool setting up proofs and signals. Well, apparently I didn't pay any attention to proofs and signals.
Yeah, I made a nice little thumbnail for it and everything.
Oh, I did. I used the thumbnail.
I know. You forgot that you used it though.
I know what happened. I got really excited because there's a lot of energy.
Yes, there is.
Moving around.
Yeah, we've had a very busy morning so far.
Yes, we were live with Kevin from Israel earlier.
Yeah, that was super fun.
And it seems like okay, the words that just came in are unfettered access is starting to materialize. And I'm feeling it's going to be different for each.
Right.
And so this is actually perfect timing to talk about hashtag quantum tool alert.
Right.
BZ came up with this for us, a quantum tool alert. This one is really interesting because right before we went live, BZ, I got a phone call that I really never thought I would get, and it's kind of auspicious that it took place today. And it's in regards to everything I've been through medically since I started waking up. And so this is very interesting to me in the way that it has presented itself too, because it came off of the words manufacturer corruption. Any other time, I've never sought anything out. I just never did. I was never attached to anything, but now this has come about, and for it to come about now, and quite frankly, almost immediately before having this conversation, in between our conversation with Kevin earlier this morning and now, I don't know, it's just something really magical. It feels like.
Yeah.
So I know you had some notes and things you had jotted down about this. This was your nudge to talk about, and I would love for you to, step in here and talk about that with us.
When we were finishing towards the very end of like the 1 hour, 5 minute mark of the last conversation we did of unleashing unleash your power mindfully with accountability and foresight. And I was telling a story, which I can't remember what it was, but anyways, it had to do with setting up some proofing. Oh, I know what it was. You're okay.
Oh, I looked over. I was trying to launch the channel, and I didn't see BZ for a second.
That's what I left.
That was cute. Ooh, look at that.
So can you see the cue now?
Yes. Oh my
So it was a
goodness.
story about this in the very end of the last thing, and I was talking about some things that were going on about some questions that I had, clarification for when to move forward with certain parts of what I was supposed to do related to certain,
Yes.
you know, that my someone's got an echo. So and this was part of it. I was nudged to go bid on something, and I said what and typed it in, and this came. And part of the things I was waiting for had to do with some of the things that I do with the case and the IUV and Q posts and stuff were related as far as event driven. That's what I was talking about. And so I mentioned that I had set up different things, as I do often. Okay, well, I'll get a sign, or I'll have a knowing, or it'll be really clear. You know, and sometimes I don't quite pay enough attention, and it needs to be really clear. So this was what came in, and Q started posting, and I don't think you can get much clearer than that when you're nudged to go, and you're actually nudged what kind of thing to bid on. Bloodstone is the stone. Anyways, and so you said, well, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, wait a minute. I want to point something out here if it's not clear, because I do remember that portion of our conversation. Your guidance was to go and bid on a bloodstone on eBay.
Yes.
And you did. And it's not the stone. I mean, you didn't see that in it when you were bidding. No. It was not visible to you that there was a Q on that stone when you were just following your guidance. I just wanted to really bring that out because that's an important part of that story for me.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, I could see the different, it's hard in here. I could see the different striations in the stone. Right. But the Q was not at all visible. I mean, I could see there was more color here, but right. I couldn't see that, no. And when I opened the box, and it came, you know, faster than it normally does, it opened the box, and I was looking at it, I thought, well, okay, there's a demonstrable, right, signaling and the sign. And then, I don't know, maybe an hour or two later, Q started posting it at this time frame, and two other pieces fell into place. This isn't, the nudge wasn't so much about Q, it just, that was just something that tied into everything. And, you know, so one thing I might say, I'll, you know, aside from my sense, I'll get a confirmation, or I'll know that I'm on the right track if I see X, or if something shows up. And people do it you'll do it in your own way. So when I was nudged to get this, specifically a bloodstone, go bid on some things, so I did. That one came up, and yes, I saw the coloring, didn't see the Q. The box arrives, and it just happens to have a Q, a fancy Q, clearly on it, but no coincidences. And the other things, that's, if I'm ignoring that, then I need to leave the planet.
Well, what I like about this conversation too is, and what I've been so fortunate to be around is to witness, is that the two of you actively play with your environment in that fashion specifically.
Yes.
That's why, pardon me, this is a quantum tool alert.
Right.
Because the two of you very specifically set things up. This when it's the right time to do something, this will happen, or this will, you're playing with your, and oh, Lisa, you actually said it really well during our conversation with Kevin. You are inviting everything in your environment to show up and play with you. And I really think in these moments of now that is exactly what that means about approaching these things with the imagination of children. Because that's really what it is. If we're I mean, there's, hey, come play. There's no pressure in that.
How good does that feel anyway? Come on. It's your nature to play.
Absolutely. Well, the two of you do that all the time. And so that's the proofs and signals that it would seem to me, and what I've witnessed with the two of you is how because then you're off on a magical, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
And
that's why I said whenever you
turn it down until it mutes.
So we got 8 folks that are watching, and I want to give a shout out to Cece. She says, hello, everyone. Jennifer Brown, hello, dearest friends.
So I don't normally look on my phone because my phone is doing work. I have no idea how do I find the comments? That's what I was thinking of doing.
Well, in a live video, see, now I'm on my tablet device, so Lisa could probably. Are you on your phone, Lisa?
Mm-hmm.
How would she see the comments as they're going live?
Live chat. It's just a little button at the end, at the bottom. The thumbs up, the thumbs down, a live chat, share, or report, and I just click the live chat button.
And it's going to look
different. I have a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a share, a save, and a report. No live chat.
Oh, hey, there's a way to share. Well, hey, all you folks that are watching this live.
What?
Feel free to share this live video wherever you feel free to share, and invite your friends to come on in.
Yeah. Well, if you're saying hi, I can't see it because apparently I can do lots of wild.
Well, that's kind of why.
Can't find the comments on YouTube.
That's kind of why I read the comments out too, because some folks may be watching this on their phones and not seeing the live comments. Mm-hmm. So Alchemy says, hi, I'm here. And she said, great seeing you all together. And Rider on the White Horse said, the heart of a child. Woohoo. Yes, that's true. And Kevin Westring's in the house and says, greeting Gal Pal Posse. Okay, so it wasn't supposed to say Gal Pal Posse. It was supposed to say Quantum Tool Alert, hashtag Quantum Tool Alert. I just got excited.
You forgot.
Well, we're live and all.
Yeah, we're live. Yeah, squirrel. Squirrel.
I know.
What was that?
That happens to me very much.
Yeah, that's a quantum squirrel.
Listen, well, I'll be honest with you, BZ. I got on a bit of a high after that phone call, because what was so interesting about that phone call is it almost immediately following, the lady who really helped set me on a path with my health, specifically because of the water piece that I received. That it was my guidance, yes. But this lady, just being her really helped me. And she showed up here out of the blue right after that. So it's all that, for me, that's some signs and signals and proofs as well.
Right.
The noticings. The fact that I never really, aside from the disability piece, because I haven't been able to actually work since then. I never really went after. I knew that what had happened with me wasn't right medically. Nobody should have to go through 20 surgeries in less than 10 years. Nobody should have to go through something like that. And so I knew something wasn't right, but I wasn't litigation conscious and all that sort of thing, and I just wanted to be well. So I don't know, that it's very interesting that in these moments of now, something is coming. It's like, it feels like an energetic wave of something. I don't know, but it's very interesting that it happened today.
Right.
So,
on the 12/12.
On the 12/12,
In the
is
portal and all the energies that were going. So I heard someone say, well, how do you, because you had mentioned, Sheila, about Lisa and I setting them up all the time. So we're not only noticing them like you did and seeing them come in, and that's a big step. That shouldn't be glossed over, because a lot of people don't. They might relay a story and I can go, okay, well, there was one, there was one, there was one, there was one that, what are you talking about? Well, you just told me, you just said X, da, 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 da. And look at this picture you just painted. They're like, wow, so we can go into detail on that, but I just want to go back to the question that I heard. What?
Well, I was just going to say, because, well, that's what you did for me, actually. The two of you very specifically were instrumental in helping me with the noticing. Was a really big piece. That's what you were speaking on right there.
Right.
Helping someone notice those things in their life. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't see that. So that noticing piece is a really big piece, but you're speaking on the setting up thereof.
Yeah, someone had asked, because you were talking about Lisa and I very specifically, intentionally, and consciously doing that all the time in all different areas, using all different energetics and situations and beings and inanimate objects and a combination of all those woven together and on multiple setups at the same time. So in other words, maybe I'm working on this thing over here and I'm thinking about this thing for work and this thing over here. And, I've got different streams. And the interesting thing is you start to play with it. So the question was, well, how do you do that? So I'll get to in 1 second. But when you do that, you'll start to see, the metaphor comes to mind. If you're on a large highway and there's, interchanges coming in and traffic is, okay, you're not driving with a bunch of people in DC or New York or something, and traffic is flowing and you're letting, kind of people come in. You'll see that when you have multiples going on at the same time, it actually feeds into each other because you're building the muscles. You're saying, I am present, I'm noticing, I'm wide open, and most importantly, I'm in my heart. I'm out of my head, I'm in my heart, and I know who I am. So you're claiming it, and as you claim it, more things can come in and they can signal and play off of each other, and you'll find yourself, well, that's interesting. Okay. So you'll find yourself where you're now getting instead of I'm here, I'm standing up, I'm looking, do I go this way or do that way? Should I take this or not? It's very linear, right? It's like here and then here and then here, right? Or yes or no or whatever it is. And this happens if you just do one at a time, but I'm saying as you do multiple ones, it's really opening the barn door, so to say, and you'll start to see a multi-dimensional picture in that you'll see it isn't linear. It isn't this, then that, then that, then that, right? And you can actually skip a lot of the that's and go right to this. And this one here will meet, if you can see my fingers, so this one here will actually meet this other one you're working on over here, and you can come forward because instead of thinking of a flat plane, you're like on this gorgeous living ball of creational force, and you can run around, you can jump through the middle, you can do all sorts of things all at the same time. And as you do that, you're wielding it, you're playing with it. Just like if you take your hands, if you have never done this, some people are very used to doing this, but if you've never done this, take your hands right now and have them close together and just have the intention of feeling the energy between them. And you can pull it out and play with it, and you'll feel it, expand with you. If you watch it, you can actually see already what colors it wants to present, but you could put other streams of color energy in there as you're doing that, and you can feel it. So that's just another good it's actually something you can do and play with, but it's another visual representation that you can get of how what's going on and what you're creating, what you're pulling to you, and what you're letting go of, what you're integrating and letting the rest go of in your life, you can do right in multidimensional real time.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I started doing that when I started learning about Reiki, but not until that. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But even at that, for me, I didn't realize how much of a in how much of a multidimensional way we all have available to us to take in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You know, that the power of the noticing first for me, and everybody will come to it different, you know, as to how it all unfolds specifically. For me, just the simple act of noticing and taking note, because of the good memory that I kind of have, and the proclivity for, you know, collecting puzzle pieces. The noticing piece was a huge piece for me, because I don't miss a trick, pretty much. And the remembering of it, you know, as I notice it, that's been very, and I think too, that's a way we can hone our focus and attention just by the mere act of that noticing. But it was specifically this portion, where the two of you, and specifically Lisa, the way you speak on your invitation of everything and everyone to come and play, and that's something that I hadn't thought of in those terms, you know, not since I'm a little kid. You know, when you're a little kid, you know, we're inviting everybody to the tea party.
Right.
Hi, Miss Comb. Hi, Miss Jar. You know, we do that as kids.
Yes.
And it seemed so silly, but I've seen the proof in hanging out with the two of you as to how valuable that is. Like I said, I've had an awful lot of evidentiary evidence presented in the puzzle pieces just since hanging out with the two of you, the two of yous. Specifically, you know, BZ, the whole photograph thing was really huge for me, in, you know, just beholding things in a particular way, right?
Yeah, and meeting them. There's a couple things. Someone said you still didn't answer the other question.
Oh.
but I wanted to go to something first you were talking about. I didn't realize how much the multidimensionality there is that we can perceive. And so I'm sitting here,
Yes.
and I'm fully present, and I'm listening, and I'm tuning in, and can feel all those who are with us. And I'm also, then when you said that, I thought, okay, well, let me keep focusing here, but let me go out a little further. So I notice what Keegan's do. I notice what Rose do. It's raining just a little bit, so I can hear the raindrops up on the roof. And then as I was doing that, I jumped up on the roof to actually watch the raindrops and then be a raindrop. And then I noticed, you know, some birds over there, so I was with them. You know, we go and look at the thing, I'm right here, but I can do all of that and play with it and not divide attention from anything. You know what I'm saying? If you said, what did you just say? I'd say, you said, da, da, da.
Yeah, and that does take practice. And obviously I don't have it yet, or this would have been named #quantum tool alert, because I knew that. I knew what it was. I had set it up, and then we were speaking, and I'm trying to do two things at once with the typing and the talking.
But that's a really good point, because someone else said, well, isn't that something like what's the linear multitasking, and multitasking is a good thing, and then there's this whole thing it was a bad thing. No, this is not multitasking. This is being quantum and wielding your multidimensionality. They're in completely different things, because you're doing what I'm speaking of with all of you, leading with your heart center, and your mind is just aiding in certain things. It's following. It's, maybe the number one to Captain Picard. It's saying, yeah, I'll go do that and make it so, or I'll look at that, right, and give you more details or come up with search. But all of you is doing this, and it's leading with your heart. And so you're not thinking any of these things. You are being, in essence. I mean, I can kind of go through more of the unraveling of it, but in essence, you're being it. You are being subject to all of this. You are actually noticing that there is no separation in all this. That's just, if you're sitting here and you think of your right hand, then, right hand. So the raindrop is the right hand is the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And actually, you hit on something really huge for me in that just then. And now I see very clearly the reason that I can't do that. That it transpired in the way that it did. Okay. With my speaking, I'm thinking about what I'm going to be saying and trying to think about what I was typing. See, I was trying to divide the thinking into two, and I can't do that. Think what just came in. Thinking is very linear.
Yes. And what I'm speaking of is not at all linear.
No, that's right. Okay. Oh, okay.
Well, thank you. Bilocational, right? Because
multi-location
3D, yeah. Well, in this case of I was just using being in the two places, yeah, and just being totally cognizant
right.
of both.
Right.
Yeah.
But the mind is not doing it.
No.
The mind is aiding, and it's the higher mind, and it's aiding. It's like it's your right hand being for you, and so it's aiding you. It's following in. It's not fighting you. It's not saying, hey, I got it all going on, and this heart stuff is baloney. It's not, and none of that. And there's actually no separation. It's just like, okay, so let's stop for a minute and eyes open or not. Eyes open is good. I like that, because then you can see other things and you don't have to go in the whole meditation doing it right sort of thing. But just breathe for a moment. And as you breathe through your toes. Feel your toes breathing. And then feel the breath in your ankles. Now feel the breath in your right shoulder. And feel the blood coursing in that right shoulder and moving smoothly, and everything's working beautifully.
Yeah, see, that's a really good example, because that's moving your focus and attention from one area to another.
So let's play a little bit. If it's a little bit rainier where you are, then you're going to go and it's your raindrop. If it's sunny, it's your sunbeam. If it's misty, you're a wisp of the mist. If there's a light breeze or a big wind or a leaf blowing or whatever it is, wherever you are, pick that and go meet. Be right here. Go meet that. Just like you felt breath, in that part of your body, feel that leaf. Go be with that one raindrop. The hummingbird that just came to the feeder, I can go be with the hummingbird. I can hear its wings beat because I can feel the vibration of it, even though the glass slider is closed, right? And I can't audibly hear it. So let me just say one other thing quick, because someone said, well, I got to work. I don't have time for all this. Okay, great. I'm glad you said that. That's really cool. So what I do when so the place where I work is a very large place. And there's a lot of things that I'm responsible for doing. And then as I'm doing those, as I'm going to different places and different buildings or whatever it's doing, it's also very helpful for the general manager if I can, kind of, in linear terms, you would call it situationally aware, right? So that's in police and all sorts of things, medical, right? Okay. Me, I just notice because I'm tuned into it. So it's helpful if I happen to drive past something and, oh, there's a tree down across the trail or whatever it is. So one of the ways that I do this is the same thing, except that I consciously hold it in my field. So the entire place, which is many, 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 many acres, I hold in my field. Intentionally for that, just like I'm holding my arm in my field, right?
Yep.
So, and I've talked about this here and there. I can drive by something very fast in my golf cart because we don't use motorized things in the dark and know a door is open because I can feel it. It's like if I had a tear in my shirt, I could look and there's a tear in my shirt. So there's an opening.
So now I just heard a question about that, and I want to ask you, that is because you are so used to holding it in your field that when there is something out of place, because you are at that point very noticing of all of what you in your own field, as you're holding all of that in your field, what you feel like.
So my first answer and simple one to that would be yes, but I can do it. It's a tool. It's an ability. It's because I can do it here. And even if I'm not, on the place here and I can be some other place geographically, I still have it. I may say, well, I actually have a few minutes of PTO and someone else is going to have to figure that out. Or if it's really a strong thing, I may text somebody and say, you might want to just check X, Y, or Z. Right. And then, of course, they all think, okay, spooky action here is like.
Yeah. Can I say something right here? I love what you're talking about here because I do that kind of rather naturally myself, and I never thought of sharing it with somebody. So thank you for this topic. A. B, I think we're all doing it and we don't recognize it, because I just had this scenario pop up as you were speaking, BZ. How many of us become one with our automobile like it's our body?
Yes.
You know how to park that thing. You know how to weave in and out of traffic. You can even fix the radio station or answer your telephone, while you are, because you have become one with your vehicle. And you've trained yourself to add an additional, your blind space, however, an egg around your car, because how much of us instinctually feel that blind spot, even though we can't see it, we feel it. And so I just want to invite folks to take that awareness with you everywhere you are, to notice and consciously work with that in a conscious manner. That field, that egg, we all have it. Call it your personal space, however you want to hold it. You have it and you know about it. And then practice adding more, right? Like you were saying, that you can solidly hold your position where you live. Yes, I've practiced that myself. And then I consciously expanded it to include my neighborhood and my city and my country. And, pretty soon I am identifying with all that I am, because I've consciously included it in my field.
Yeah. Beautifully said. And you know what I would say to that? Yeah, you're not small. None of us are. And yeah, you've always been multidimensional. And whether you understand it or not, know it or not, or know how to use it or not, doesn't matter. And now, you know, your soul is asking you to connect, to consciously connect and do that. So it's there. So as far, just to go back to what I was saying a moment ago with noticing those things, that's so, and the person was saying, well, you know, like this would be nice, but I have to work. Okay, great. Then shine more if you want to work and have more fun. Shine more at your work by being helpful in these things. And hey, you get to play with your multidimensional tools at the same time. You don't have to go sit on a mountaintop and cross your legs and arms the right way and go, oh, you can if you want to, but you can do it at work. You know, you don't need, so you can build fantastic, really, you know, flex your muscles and play with these different things. Super quantum, super multidimensional, right? Super powers coming on all over the place and adding new ones and commingling and mixing and all that kind of stuff. And you're doing, wow, you're doing, how'd you know that? You know, right? Super helpful. Because sometimes a facility might have cameras, right? To just help them monitor this building or this floor or whatever. Well, you got a camera right here. Because I can tell you, or if I'm walking Keegan and I'm taking, you know, have a little time off and I maybe go playing and then I get nudged, go walk by that building because something's up. Okay, well, we'll go play down that way. And I go walk by the building and there's, you know, some water on the foundation on the side. And then I walk around in part of the building. It's a big, huge generator shed. And the cement on the ground is wet. That's not supposed to be. It's covered. This is a covered, you know, it's open on one end, but it's a covered building. So it's not rain getting. Then I walk in the little electrical room behind that where there is a small little water tank and there's, you know, wet cement on the ground. No, it's not streaming, you know, like there's, but it's wet. If I touch it with my finger, it's damp. So it's my hours off. I whip out the phone, take some pictures and say, just following a nudge. Thanks. And off I go, back on my thing. Well, if you're running a big facility and you can't be everywhere every moment and someone happens to be, you know, taking a couple hours off and they get nudged to do that and send you pictures, you can send some out. It may be nothing. It may be just a little whatever, or it may be just about to go fluid. Well, that's pretty helpful if you're an employer, right? And as a being, I'm enjoying my walk with my dog, and I'm building my multidimensional muscles and other tools. And you know, the one thing I wanted to finish on that is that you can, as Lisa said, yeah, you can keep going out. You can also do it in specific places, like you want to go and tune into one place, or if you go to a new place. So it isn't just that I'm here and used to it. I can be in a different building or a different place or a different location, different, just fill in the blank, and stand for a minute and just take it in. So I can see where everything is, you know, on all of my sensory array, and then tune into that and then go on. So if something changes, I might notice it or whatever it is, right? Maybe I'm at a friend's house and I want to do that there. So there's lots of ways that you can do it. Aside from them, it's just fun because as you start to play with it, now you're not looking for problems or work or all that. You're just out there being. You can feel a cool bird in a tree that you may not notice, but it's watching you coming by, and you can just say hello and then turn and start to have a conversation before you even, you know, look at it with your eyes. And so this gets back to what we're, you know, the real focus of the tool here, which is where you're proofing, right? And you're having these signs come in. So play with it in different ways and set that up, whether you're wrestling with the subject or you're not sure how to do something, or should you do this or not do this, or do this one or do this one, you know, Some people say, well, give me a sign. Okay. But then if you ask for something, then don't, if you say, give me a sign, and someone soul gives you a sign, and you go, no, I don't want that sign. Give me another one. I mean, right?
Well,
be honest. How many people do?
Well, this is very interesting on several levels because, I mean,
another pen.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Well, we actually had that with Kevin too, wasn't it? I mean, his intention and thoughts were to get a Christmas tree, right? Well, he had a nudge to look in a trash bin. He got the cutest little Christmas tree from looking in a trash bin, right? I mean, those are signals and proofs that's why I say there's a lot, even though it's being open to the noticing and then just following those nudges leads to those signs and those proofings. Yeah. So being open, I always go back to that. For me, has always been the best the best quantum tool you could get is being open to hearing, seeing, feeling all of these things, because once one just becomes open to those experiences, then like I said, the two of you showed me how then you can even begin to play with it and set up these signals and proofings to yourself, which is really delicious to play with as well.
And the more that you do that, the more, and so the proofings start showing up. It's exhilarating. It's exciting. I feel more alive playing in this fashion than I ever have in all the time that I have been here. I am feeling younger and more alive, so anyway, it draws me in to play more in this fashion because I want it, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a ball, and I just have no desire whatsoever to choose what I was doing back there. No more.
Yeah, me either. I want to tell you guys who all's shown up here and said a few things. We got Rainbow Angel has come back again. Somebody asked about my pulling cards. We're not doing that right now, but hey, it's still early yet. I might go live and do intuitive readings later. So, look out for that. But Alchemy wanted to thank you, Lisa, I think, or maybe BZ, for describing some things, and we were talking about being multidimensional. And Alchemy said it is your universe in reference to what Lisa was saying. And that is true. We all get to choose. So Fawn Denmark has joined us. Flo Fawn. And I had to stop it right there because we just went past the 12:12 on 12:12 p.m. now. Of course, we were speaking earlier a little bit about those energies too. So thanks everybody we got 16 watching. Feel free to tell us who you are and where
and
you're
also
at.
If you have any things you want to share of what you're noticing or how you've maybe done it and you're not quite certain, that kind of stuff. You were saying, Lisa, that that you love playing with it. Well, I would characterize it as it's cosmically delicious, and it energizes you, it invigorates you. So even if you have the tired day, work day, whatever it is, when you do this, you're no longer, this is not accurate really, but I'll just use placeholder linear way to describe it. You're no longer fighting yourself. You're no longer going, I'm small. I'm really small and I can't do, and all this stuff I get all this weight on me. Just shuck off the coat and quit doing that. And you go, wow, what's that? That's rain. But go be a raindrop. Because you and the raindrop, you could hold at the very least that you're both connected and can be subject to one another. Or the tree. Well, there's trees all around me, but I'm looking at these alders right out the window here, and they have a tendency, they grow beautiful lichen and moss on them, and sometimes it'll go with a wide patch, and then it'll kind of do a thin little strip down in another wide patch. And so I can feel my fingers or my feet if I was smaller on the physicality wise, and walking down the thing, feel what it feels like as if my feet were right there walking down that.
You know what's really interesting about that is that for me anymore, when I hear things like that and I put my attention there, I'm feeling it too.
Yes.
And that's where, and I really do feel like, you know, I get, like I said, I've said before, I get put in a lot of groups, you know, and
can you see the tree so everybody can kind of get a visual, and then if they want to feel it?
Yes, I can. Here, let me, yeah. I really feel like, everyone, like Lisa, you said before that everyone is experiencing this, and we are on all sorts of different levels, whatever.
You're animated and you're connected to source, so sorry, you are experiencing it.
Right. And I think it's all in a matter of how we decided we wished to experience this experience as we are experiencing more of it, right? And so, but I hear in these different groups, you know, the different things that folks are experiencing, and that is all. It's all the same thing. It's just all in the ways in which that we have each set it up for ourselves. You know, because I've heard folks talking about, you know, the sorts of dreams that they're having where they're experiencing this, that, or the other, and it's very feeling, and it was me, but it doesn't feel like me, and it's because we're feeling all of ourselves on these different levels and whatever we've set up for ourselves.
Can I stop you 1 second there? So yes, and you can set, so what Sheila is speaking to is what we've set up for ourselves before we came into this incarnation.
Right.
Yes. And you can change it right now.
Yes.
And now we're in another moment, and you can change it here. And you can add this, and you can let go of that. So it's not like you set it up, I got to go to the end here, and then I can, you know, come in again with another. No. So yes, you set it up, absolutely, and you are the commander of the ship. So start commanding it. Instead of having, you know, what's Lisa's great phrase, which is so apt. If you're not minding your mind and your consciousness, someone else is. Yeah. So yeah, you can, you know, you can change it and expand it, alter it, enhance it, right? Pull stuff in.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lisa actually coined a really great one for our last conversation with Kevin, and I actually used it in the title, the afterwards title, because it was DIY Ascension Live. But you know, your focus and attention equals currency. It's your currency. It really is. At least it is for me. I'm figuring out.
So I heard someone just say, well, why? How is that? So we can each play with that. For me, it's because you step out of being small and you step into the truth of who you are. You stop ignoring, fighting against, obfuscating you yourself doing that and all the things you don't have. And so I wish I had this, or, oh, they're being mean and won't let me do that. Or, you know, the man is doing, you know, okay, if that's working for you, cool. Because you are the expert for you. So if that works and you like that push me, pull you, and you like that subject, keep going. Because that's wonderful mining of gold for your superpowers, for being able to prove, and you can prove that. And you can get signs on that, how you're doing that. But, you know, but the currency is that when you have that vibration, you have that creational force, and you're now consciously wielding it. And so someone says, well, I have to work to get X, Y, and Z. that's one way to do it. And that's the way we've been trained to do it. You can do it in various other ways and still get things to flow with you. You could use it using FRNs, greenbacks, to do that, or Finnig, or whatever, wherever you are, and the denomination of the different currencies that you have there. You can do that. But that's right, because it's you who are doing it, and you're starting to come forward. And I would add in here, depending on how you hold what I just said, the people that they refer to as, the out there that are controlling them. So you could directly be talking about the Illuminati or higher up. They know exactly that. That's what this whole system is predicated upon. You are the value. You are the currency. And they know that. And that's how they get this whole thing to run.
Yep.
Because they have us, and they pull it off of us because we don't know that, or some of us don't. Or we're choosing to ignore that. And that is now being stopped. That's what all of you see going on, from everything going on. And that's what the financial slavery, which is the top mirage of all of this system. And it's run directly off the beings here. So here's another good use for the tool that we're talking about here. So set up some proofings and some signals in your own way, in what you would notice or understand, to bring back to you answers, clarifications, some different examples, how it would flow of what, and specifically I just talked about that, what Lisa's talking about, that, or any other thing that we've talked about, or you may be talking about today.
Absolutely. That's what I said. I really, because I woke up to the corruption on the planet first. I was very strong in that they're doing this to us vein when I first started, what we all will term waking up. And honestly, I think I was taking some empowerment for myself, specifically where my health was concerned, but still from that angle or perspective, I should say, that they did this to me for a long time. I was holding it that way. Honestly. And I don't know why this was so, again, there was something that I feel like got activated in my field when I got in your field, Lisa, and then something else that got activated when I got in Heather's, to be honest with you. Because the moment I was in Heather Antucci Giraffe's field, I saw the metaphor for all of it. Oh my God. It was like, and it's just grown exponentially ever since then. It's like the more open I have allowed my field to be, and to seeing where I have stopped myself at every turn up until that time. It just I can see now why, and I can. It's been an alchemical epiphany. The energetics that have been siphoned off of all of us, we've allowed it. We have allowed that,
and some keep perpetuating it now.
Yes. And this is, but in my own path and journey, and really just since I even started this channel, because I started this channel before I got in Heather Antucci Giraffe's field. And I will tell you, you can go back and look at some of those videos and see the difference. And I loved it when someone that knows me, has known me for a long time, has said, and she still to this day, I think, doesn't really grok what she said to me, but I do. And I know that she was another me sending me a message saying, I said, well, so what do you, when you see me, what's the difference in me? What would you say? She said, well, it seems like you're just more in there. That's what she said to me.
Yeah, it's a good description.
Yes, it was.
I think it's perfect.
It was a very perfect description.
Yeah.
And it's visible, it's palpable, the difference in me and how I feel since some of this is I've allowed this open thing that invite showing up to, inviting, because BZ, you told me in our very first conversation that I called you in. I thought I just kind of stumbled around and found you guys, but we that's what we do for ourselves in a way. That's what I was referring to about setting certain things up. It's the little me in the chair that was running the show for a long time, which is really rich. So I had that thing, it's my way or the highway going on, because that was a very real attitude.
Yeah. Right. Well, and just like you said, you asked your friend with the changes, and she, she said you seem more in there. So just recently, I had a really bad fall and messed up a lot of stuff, and that would be the simple way to put it. And so people around here, they work with me, know me, and some knew about it in the fall and some didn't, but they could all, and there was kind of whispers like, what, is she okay? What's wrong with her? So for a time there, they wouldn't know other than something's different, but a lot of me went offline, so a lot of the sensory array shut down, a lot of the thing. I was still working, I was still doing a lot of stuff and putting out the fires of the work that I was doing, but it's different. So I would walk into a room or walk into a meeting and they wouldn't quite know what it was, but they just know something was very, very wrong, and very different. And then since Monday with Penny. So the last, what day is it today? Thursday. So the last few days, I even described that I'm coming back online, and it's like, okay, I can flip that switch on now. I can do that. And so one in particular, I walked into the office and they said hi, and I said hi, and a big smile, because they could see, they may not use that word, but they knew very clearly that things had been flipping online. So again, you can do it with somebody else. Maybe there's somebody around you and you're noticing that, and maybe they're feeling things about how they're stepping out of or have been noticing things about things coming online. They may not language it the same way we're doing it. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have it. It's your language, which is perfect for you, and it is the expert language. But there may have been something going on where that's kind of knocked them a bit, and so they're in that in-between stage. And so notice that, tune in and have those connections. You don't have to say anything. You can say if you choose to say, but it's that connection. And you can have you can do set up proofings you can set up proofings that like are ahead of time. You can set up proofings in the moment and get signals back. Ask a question inside of you, heart-based telepathy if you want, to the other being, and will start to get answers. The reason I characterize it as starting to is because you're not going to trust it. You're going to try to listen up here, and that's going to get you really, static on the thing.
Yeah, because you got to trust yourself at that point. You're right.
Yeah, but again, that's another thing you can play with proofing and signals.
Yes, you can set up so many proofings that when you send out a request telepathically for chips.
Yeah, I was gonna say the proof is in the pudding or the chips.
When everybody in the household comes home with bags of chips. Even
I I sent out the call, and I was by the afternoon. I was buried in chips.
No, that's a very, very real, very true story that happened just a late last week. I was going out for one thing, and I found myself in the grocery store heading straight for the chip aisle, and I was like, okay, well, here we go. And then I thought when I got over there, oh, it's because it's a buy two, get one free sale. That's why I was nudged to come over here. No, it wasn't. But then Albert goes for one thing at the grocery store and goes to the same kind of grocery store because he saw the same deal. And so we ended up with 6 bags of chips up in this. So yeah, at some point it starts becoming really fun
yeah, and helpful. You know, maybe you want you forgot to give somebody in the family something, or you forgot to ask them to pick something up like that, or bring somebody, or somebody at work, you know, you didn't get a report, or you didn't get that information, or oh, you forgot to do that thing. And so and it doesn't have to be this long drawn at all. I'm gonna send them vibes and you know bring me the report. You know, you can if you want, but you can, you know, it's like it's as simple as the fact that it's not forced and it's flowing up from here. Oh yeah, the report would be cool. Well, they'll give it to me.
Yeah.
And you go on. I mean, and that took longer than it really takes.
Right.
And I can tell you, it's so funny because someone drives by and says, "Hey, this is that thing you wanted. I know you asked me the other day, or I think you want this." And it's like, "Yeah, cool, okay, well." And then I can remember, if I can remember them, because it's so subtle that you may not mark them all. I go, "Hey, there should be, I don't know, something that's extra fun." You know, would be the last one I was thinking of in this example. Any minute, and I'll just stand out there for a minute, and someone comes by and goes, "Hey, I thought you'd like this." And it's like, there you go. That's the last one on that range.
Exactly.
I want to share with you guys. Jennifer Brown actually just said it would be interesting to hear you ladies discuss the various sensations that are present with these connections, whether organic or inorganic. And now I want to make sure, Jennifer, you're speaking on, well, for me, I don't view anything as inorganic anymore. I know that might seem a little odd, but, you know, okay, so this, while it may appear as inorganic because it's plastic, for me, it is still organic in its very nature, because at the most expansive level of all, this is nothing but vibrating molecules as well. So it depends on what your definition of living is.
Yeah, no, I think she was talking about, like, if it's a computer or a person or a dog or a plant, that would, you know,
right. Okay, because I have had those interactions with my computer, as some might remember.
What was the question? I forgot.
She was saying that it would be interesting to hear you ladies discuss the various sensations that are present with these connections, whether organic or inorganic.
Cool. Lisa, you want to go? I'm just, the only reason I gotta at some point very soon go back to work.
Go back
to work.
I know you do.
I have to go. I have chefing today, so I gotta go.
Yes, I know, and because yes, I got you. We're about to lose BZ, so.
But go ahead and start, Lisa, and we'll do this.
Okay. Well, for me, I'm noticing that at first I really only thought in terms of organic things like plants. I was doing a lot of stuff with plants, a lot of work, and meaning communicating and forging relationships. And it just felt really natural to do so. But now, you know, I would say I'm forging those relationships even with my mechanical, you know, like my vehicles and my computers, anything that I work with, I'm in relationship with. And I think I'm relating to them as it's all elements, it's all molecules, it's all pieces of me coming together in such a fashion to form a tool, you know, that was crafted to play with me. And so I acknowledge that, take ownership of, you know, the fact that I've gathered this tool to work with me. And then I realize what the tool is, and then it's more parts of me gathered together in a cohesive manner to play a game of, you know, tool and operator of said tool. And in so doing, I have noticed sensations of life really in all things. And at first it was easy for me to connect with plants in that fashion, but I think it was important step to do that. And it's okay that that's all I was interacting with at that point for me. And now it seems perfectly natural that that expands for me as well. Yeah, so.
Well, and I want to say something, because I heard someone, may not be someone watching us now, we've got 20 folks watching now, say, okay, well, but because I was just sitting here connecting again with this piece, right? And I happened to notice that there's a piece missing in this piece. And you're like, okay, well, you know, I don't know. I love what you said about that, because there's like if this were to break, it's, I guess, whether or not I'm attached, whether or not it's now not going to be able to serve me anymore, as to whether or not, instead of looking at it, well, maybe I'm not supposed to use that tool now, that sort of thing, by inviting it to show up and play, and not being attached to how long it shows up. And this is could be anything, how long it's there, whether or not it's going to be able to perform for me, whatever it is that I think that it needs to perform, if I'm not attached to anything in that. So I really get that now. I had a really big issue with attachment, y'all, and I still sometimes do.
We know, Lisa, right?
What'd you say, BC?
I said we know, Lisa, right?
Well, yes, one tends to feel an attachment.
And that's the way, yes, but until one opens oneself to be able to say,
kind of like adhesions, you know.
Yes, but until one opens oneself to be able to, because I didn't get it. I did not get it. Y'all know that's a very real thing.
Yeah, but when you get it, you get it. And how delicious is that, really?
No, it really is, because of all of the really cool things that I have seen that have taken place once I released, and there's a lot in that just in and of itself, released that grip of having to have something go a particular kind of, because, you know, control freaks are us over here. Just saying, I had a real issue with that too. Imagine how they go hand in hand.
Yeah, I wasn't bossy. My ideas were just better. I'm just saying.
So
yeah,
I'll
I know,
answer
right?
Jennifer's question.
Jennifer, was that the answer to your question, honey love?
I'm asking it. Can I answer her too?
Oh, yeah, gosh, yes, please do.
If I got the sense of the question, she wanted to know, what do I feel in me, and what do I feel from the organic or inorganic? Is that That's my sense. Is
Yeah, she said you touched on it before, but yeah, she's
so
yeah.
It comes in a couple different ways. If it's something that I'm, kind of like on my list of my array that I'm tuning into. Well, that's not true. They're coming all the way. But I get videos in a lot. So I will get streaming in, and I can see the videos will often, sometimes they'll run just inside in the video room up here, but I can actually see them stream. So I may be watching, like, for example, I'm watching this. I've got, see in front of me is a computer screen. There's a wall behind. There's, some stuff on the wall, crystals and stuff. And then a video will, I don't know how, let's pretend this is it, so, oh, okay. So this comes by, so there's an owl. The video of an owl might come by, and I'm interacting with that. So it's a conversation. So I actually can see everything else around me. Most of my interactions, if someone talks about something and they had a meditative state, or they had a vision or envisioning, or they went on might do a meditation and kind of go on a quest, or if you go through a meditation and someone's saying, now open the door to go here, right? And their eyes are closed. Most of that stuff, whether it's in a meditation or like we're talking about here, Jennifer, I see with my eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
And partially that was the way I was trained. It was beneficial for me to do that because of all the things that I've had to do so far, had thrown at me, and then am even now being called and will be called to do. That'd be one way to say it. And from the linear standpoint, I had that because, well, a long time ago, since I'm 56 now, I tried the whole meditation where you sit quiet, you light candles, and you have a little space, and I couldn't do it. Oh no, you're doing it wrong. You need this book. And I thought, I got so many people, whether I was 16 or 18 or 20 or whatever, telling me that I'm wrong and I'm not doing it right, and this, that, and the other thing. That, hey, since I'm doing it wrong anyways, I'm gonna do it my way wrong.
Right.
Just a thought, I mean, what the hey, right? And amazingly enough, it was my way, so it actually was right for me, and it involved the eyes being open. Because it started with noticing. So anyways, that's one of the things, that's a very big thing. It's a video, and that video has all the senses from your linear, so I can smell things in it. There's auditory, obviously. There's tactile, so I can feel the air. Let's see, if I can feel the air in the room where I'm in, but if I'm engaging with the tree or something, I can also feel the air in that space. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So my whole sensory array will take that on, and it comes in the form of I don't know, there's maybe a term for it, but it's, interactive. It's live action interactive video. And maybe video I just use because it's a good placeholder. People can kind of understand what that is. The other senses that I feel, or what I feel is I might, if I haven't quite locked onto it yet, or I'm not quite fully paying attention yet, or it's just kind of, nibbling away at coming into, I'm not in subject to it yet, into connection with it yet, I might feel like an effervescence, in part of my body or in the side that's near there. And I might then tune into that and say, well, okay, is that something inside the arm that wants to, or whatever it is. And the last way that I do it is and I think it's probably, I may be teasing them out, but I can hear it, but not just, well, it sure seems like it's auditory, and actually sometimes, I'm trying to proof it, right? Because very left brain, very right brain, I may whip out my phone and try to record what I think I'm hearing, and darned if the phone doesn't record what I thought I heard. But I hear, so I can hear the stars breathe. I can actually hear the energy pulse and that they come out, and I can go out and say, oh, well, now that it's much more familiar to me. But I remember the very first time that I did it. I was actually still living on Martha's Vineyard. I was homeless at the time and living in a little shack. And my linear brain was, having a grand old time off on some, spinning some tune and really banging the keys on some really ego mind linear tune. And so it was about 2 or 3 in the morning, and in the little shack that someone let me just stay in, they cleaned out their storage stuff and let me stay in there, and for a little bit. And so I had my 2 yellow labs at the time and Rose, and so I was nudged to go out and go for a walk, since I wasn't doing anything useful like sleeping, because there were riffs going on in this keyboard and bang, bang, bang. So I said, okay. So I said, okay, girls, Taz and Luna, we're going to go out for a walk. And it was it wasn't a full moon, but it was a fair bit of light. And we went, and where we were out in the middle, it's a shack out way in the back of this person. So we were walking through kind of the meadow and stuff. And it was very pretty, after I got my ego mind to quiet down. And I thought, okay, there's another reason why I'm out here, aside from just being woke and being nudged to go, and obviously changing, maybe taking the keyboard out from underneath the hands of the ego mind or something like that. And I thought, what's that sound? And so I'm looking more at this level, and the dogs are sniffing around, but they're close. And I asked the Symphormix, thought maybe it was they were, rustling. And so they were sitting and they're looking at me, and I said, do you hear that? What's that sound? And they started to turn, and they looked up. So I looked up, and the stars were beautiful. And I thought, it's the stars. Do you hear that? The stars are breathing. And as I said that, you could hear, you might, like a dog might go, when they get comfortable, And I thought, do you hear? And so the 3 of us are looking and experiencing this. It was phenomenal. And we were connected to it. Yeah. And so the ego mind can say, oh, okay, now you're really going off the deep end. It's like what?
Now you're going around the bend.
3 o'clock in the middle of the night, bees. You're standing in the middle of the field, out of your shack, which is, I think it was 10 by...
Out of your shack. That's a good way to put it. There's a lot of people who said, yeah, you're way out of your shack there.
It was 10 by 10 shack, and a little cat that was in there. And I thought, oh, shh, I'm listening. And I would look to, so again, very left brain, very right brain, and they've come together now, but this was many, many, many years ago. So I would pick a certain spot in the landscape. Maybe 50 feet away, there was a nice clump of different trees, and I'd look in that direction. Almost like a conductor, so you have different parts of your orchestra. You've got the wind section here and this section. And so I said, okay, well, if this really is so, and what I think I'm hearing, what I'm hearing, then if I connect with the section over there, that section of stars and that breathing, I will hear a difference. I'll hear it more out of this side. I'll hear, because it's a little, because now I'm noticing it and I've got more attention on it, right?
Right.
Like, just like an instrument, if I'm a conductor, I'm going to say, okay, you know, and do the thing, and they're going to bring up, because they've got their little solo or whatever it's called, right? So I did that, and I thought, and if you'd been videoing us, so the dogs are going, and they're used, this is mom weird stuff, you know, they're used to it. And it would, you know, so the reason I use the connecting is because at one point I thought, okay, well, hey, I'm out here. It's now 3:30 in the morning in the middle of the field. And so I started playing. I asked, well, would you play with me? Because I know you're here, and I know we're talking, and I know I can hear you and you can hear me. And I love that you're honoring me and doing this. And since I have this stupid conductor thing in my head, can we play? I don't know how to be a conductor, but hey, you know, I'll play. Can we play? You know, if I go for this section, can you? And it happened, and I thought, okay, this is the most magnificent thing ever, and probably not anybody I can tell.
Well, I think you're telling everybody, sweetheart.
Well, I know how you feel about that. That, you know, that actually came up for Lisa and I when we first started. When I first started playing with, well, realizing that videos were communicating. Okay, now I know, again, sounds like I went right out of the shack, but it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Asking the question, is this video talking to us? And then the next thing we know, there's a puppet on the TV saying, yes, the TV is talking to you. I mean, you very beautifully set up approving a signal, asking for a signal and approving, to go back to what this hashtag quantum tool alert has been about.
Right.
And I think that's that right there. What a beautiful way to wake up to that. And I feel you in that moment that happened for you. And you can't tell anybody about it.
Well, I could, but you know, I would just cement that.
I know.
Well, I'm really glad that we all, and that's why I do feel very strongly that just getting together and having conversations like this and sharing, you know, what has transpired for all of us, because there's everybody here. There's 15 people watching now. I'd be willing to bet money everybody in that room has a very similar situation. And if you haven't, if you have not, I would invite you to consciously at this point, consciously set one up for yourself.
Yeah.
And then contact us.
Yeah. Well, and also simply notice. Noticing is not approving. Noticing is not an observing. Noticing is no attachment. Noticing is simply noticing. You have no agenda. You have no script. You're simply noticing. And when you do that and you mean it, whatever comes, you know, magic happens. And what really is happening, a better way to describe it, is you allowing yourself to let your magic flow forth. Yeah. And so you are wanting to bring that to you all the time, your whole life. Yeah. And maybe you have listened to it or not. Maybe you have noticed or not. But you can do it now. And you're, you know, this is a conversation I want to have another point, but you are being called to fall in love with you. And this is part of how you do that.
I love that. You're being called to fall in love with you. I love that because I never even got to know myself before. Now I am, and all of this magic deliciousness that has transpired ever since that, decision, conscious decision. I know that I've always had that want, perhaps that desire. Otherwise, you know, I may never have actually called the two of you into my field. I will own that now. I didn't before, but I will own that now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm ever so grateful for your continued enjoyment of our conversations, because they've been so enlightening and helpful for me to see me in all of my interestingly glorious ways.
Is Jennifer still there? Because I can't see the chat.
I think so. She was sharing a little bit earlier about having different perspectives coming from separation, which is why it is a DIY ascension situation, I think.
So my question to her is, having heard each of us talk about an answer to her question, one, was that helpful for her? Not it's. Well, and two, the real thing that I was nudged to ask is, did that light something up in her and something in her own experience? She's like, oh, is that what that was? Or, oh, that's what I'm curious about.
I got you. Well, I see here now where she said, I do see, but I see with body and emotional sensations, just to simplify. And she says, though I will get images and words. And she also said it does seem auditory, yet it feels like it is the center of my brain. She said she's never tried recording. And she just said, what an amazing experience. There is a bit of a delay in the chat, so I want to give Jennifer a chance to
well, she already answered the question. So
and I have a tremendous sniffer. I don't know. I smell things in that way. You know how you can like smell infection, or I don't know. I can smell the health, and I don't know. There's something about smell for me in that way. It's an extra sensory. I don't know. I can smell things that you think you shouldn't be able to smell.
No, you absolutely can. It's funny, if people are questioning that, people don't often do that, but they absolutely can. But one of the things that in what I'm doing, playing with Keegan, that would be an expansion of that we're kind of prepping to be able to train for, is him sniffing, I'll do it this way, illness.
Yes.
But to me, it's energetic imbalance, right? But targeted in a certain way, and also finding other pets. So if maybe you have an older pet that's sick and wandered off. So, but yeah, I mean, we can all do all of that. It's just whether we pay attention to it. Yeah, because what you're seeing as the energetic molecules, smeeing with your nose is energetic molecules, and they have not only a different frequency, but since that the wave of that frequency has a concave part or convex, so it shapes differently. And so when it hits your sensory array here, you decode that information in a way that you then labeling and perceiving in a good way, labeling and perceiving in a way that it's a sense of this or that, or, right?
Yep.
So someone is kind of constricted and not feeling well, and there's like a staleness or like a right, and then well, they're really sparkly, they're really energetic, it's more light, there's more effervescence, right? And so again, that's a beautiful example, and what I'm playing with that is that's another way to help people understand that everybody is going to experience it in a whole myriad of ways, some overlapping, some totally different, some, and it keeps changing and expanding all the time. And again, source said, go forth and know source. And there's whatever, fill in the number, whatever number you want to make in all of those. And if everybody's on the same exact track, then you only need one. You don't need, right? Because then you don't need the whole array.
Yeah, that's exactly why it does take all of us, because each and every single one of us is a completely separate and unique perspective of source, embodying, because it's a continual thing.
Action, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Jeannie Maria said, I noticed we each have a unique perspective of love, and the only true love is to take an other as yourself and love yourself. The point is to live yourself energetically and heal the planet. I have a suspicion that we all, again, that's why I feel like being open is so important. Yeah. We each set things up to trigger us in different sorts of kinds of ways for and I think that, Lisa, you hit it really smack on, that we're all doing this, and it just may be ways that we've been conditioned and programmed to think of as a different way. Remember, I didn't think I was connected. Remember, y'all, how y'all had to show me that
we remember.
If you're breathing,
and I believe it was several shows where they no, but really, okay, but now I'm really not okay. Yeah. You're still animated, so
yes, I was a bit adamant on the not being connected part, but I now know that we are always connected. And I also know, specifically in my case, that focus and attention, the more I practice that, the more I feel that connection. And that is exactly why, for me, the whole idea of having a hashtag quantum tool alert that has to do with setting up signals and proving to oneself, oh, wait a minute, oh yeah, okay, I am connected, oh, silly me, is really important. I mean, it has been for me.
Yeah, especially if if a common refrain or lament is, well, this linear stuff is so boring and I want my superpowers. Okay, cool. Well, you actually already have them. It's a question of turning them on and expanding more of them. And they won't come on until you turn them on. Everything else, the energies and everything, is all there to support you. But it's a free will zone, man. And until you say, yeah, and it's not just, yeah, oh yeah, I want them, because you haven't shown up. You haven't stood for you, right? You're not all in there. And this is one of the ways you can do that. You're inviting it in. You're saying, yeah, let's bring it on. Yeah. You have to be and do it.
Yeah. And when
you can't sit in the armchair and wait for the memo to arrive that says, hey, Joellen, your superpowers are here. If you'd like to come out on the porch and open your box, we'll give you a little tutorial.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. And so when the television, if that's what you've set up for your proving, turns to you and says, yes, I'm talking to you, and I'll let me be your television. Yes, we're talking to you.
Oh, well, I had one of those fun moments in the backyard with the cicadas and the bunnies, and I was having that moment where I realized I was the connector orchestrating it all. It was like, let's sing a song, and orchestrating the wind and the cicadas and cueing the bunnies to hop in. It's really, really, really magical. It just, I don't know. I wouldn't want to live life any other way anymore. You know, the more that I see the life and the magic in all of it, I can't go back to not seeing
Yeah,
it.
and it's part of your mission because it's tuning into you and consciously not only, you know, all the things I mentioned before, standing for you, but wielding that which you are, because you are an essential, integral part to, in this locality, unwinding and unbinding all of this, which affects all in all of Saoirse's multiverses.
Yep.
So
right?
anytime you want to stand in and do what you raised your hand or your energy molecules and said you would do, it's a good time. And if it takes you today and you do it, or a million years to do it, it is perfect because you are choosing to do it.
Yep. Agreed.
So with that, I look at the clock and I have much to chef over the next 5 days, and
I know.
I gotta put the
It
menus
was
together.
so awesome though, even though all of the chefing and what up, because you know, chefing is just a tiny portion of what is actually going on over there.
Yes.
So we just are so grateful that we came to play in the daylight, because this is really, really fun.
Yeah, it is. Because of our time difference, we don't get to see BZ in the daytime very often. So this has been fun for both of us.
Yeah.
And we're reticent, of course, to let you go, but we do understand, BZ. And I want to thank you both, actually, for coming and playing in this edition of Conscious Conversation Central, which actually is a quantum tool alert.
Yes.
Not just Conscious Conversation. It wasn't the Gal Pal Posse. I'll remember that next time. But I want to say too that if you want to make sure, just because you're subscribed to this channel does not necessarily mean that you'll be keeping in touch with us. So if you are subscribed to the channel, and if you would like to make sure that if something were to go on with YouTube and their silliness or whatever, make sure to reach out to ppcunite@gmail.com. All this information, of course, is in the Show More section of every video that I put out. And if you're already subscribed to BZ or me, go over and subscribe to the other channel. If you're subscribed to BZ and you're seeing this over there, which BZ will be putting this up over there later on, come over to Conscious Conversation Central. If you're at Conscious Conversation Central watching this, go over to BZ Rieger on YouTube and subscribe to her as well, because we both do videos that we don't actually put on each other's channels. So that's all I have, ladies. Do either one of you wish to say anything else before we end this?
I was gonna see if I can find it here. We have another title came in, and which I couldn't remember, but no, I just looked up. We have another quantum tool alert that will be live coming soon.
Oh, good. It is. Okay, cool.
Very soon. How to stand for you.
Yeah, I've got that one too. I wrote that one down too. Yep. So look for hashtag quantum tool alert, how to stand for you. And so we're going to do that one live too. All right. So if you have questions from this one, reach out to any one of us, put them in the comments if you'd like. I'm going to go back through and read all of the live comments that were made here. And, like I said, there will be ways to get in touch with each one of us in the Show More section. Thank you, ladies.
Love you.
Love you too. Till next time.